As a city, whether we are parents, teachers, public safety officials, or community leaders, we care about Salt Lake City's children. We want them to be safe while they learn. We want to ensure they have an educational experience that sets them up for meaningful and successful lives. In doing so, we secure their futures and the future of our city. What we know about our kids is this: those who experience disciplinary problems at school that result in suspensions and negative interactions with police are at risk. Research and statistics show these kids are 3 times more likely to drop out of high school. They're also 3 times more likely to be incarcerated as adults. And we want to help prevent students from heading down this path and end the school-to-prison pipeline. Over the past year, my office, Salt Lake City Police Department, and Salt Lake City School District have been working together to evaluate and improve our shared responsibilities. Today, we are happy to announce a new contract that clearly defines the boundaries of our respective roles. It's an effort that builds upon the hard work of Representative Sandra Hollins, who in 2016 worked to pass HB 260, which sought to end the school-to-prison pipeline through improved training and clear contracts. Representative Hollins' bill also makes Utah one of only 12 states to set in law best practices and training standards for both law enforcement and schools. Our hope is that this agreement will ensure the welfare of all students while improving school atmosphere through better relationships, communications, and cooperation between school leaders and police. With greater cooperation and improved training, we believe this contract will clearly identify the boundaries between disciplinary actions to be handled by teachers and administrators and situations that require law enforcement response. There is a difference between a student with a cell phone in the classroom and a student with a weapon in the classroom. The contract honors, respects the work, training, and professionalism of both teachers and police officers. This includes allowing school resource officers flexibility in scheduling so they can be present for after-school activities and other critical times. It decreases negative police interactions and increases positive relationships that breed trust. Over the last few years, we've seen negative contact rates go down, but we want them to continue moving in that direction. The contract creates equity across our city, especially for historically marginalized students. To break a pattern of inequity, we must ensure school officers are in every school, not just those with certain characteristics. It respects and protects the rights of students and access to their personal information, including setting standards for police interviews. Our officers know how to respect the rights of individuals in our city and that they are in our schools to protect students, not to investigate them. The contract empowers our communities with information about the roles of police in our schools so that they, the public, can hold law enforcement and schools accountable for their individual roles. And it produces an annual report that documents our process and progress. Just as this contract was the product of partnership and collaboration, so must our work be moving forward. To that end, to end the school-to-prison pipeline, we need everyone to do their part. We do this for our students and for our future. We do this for everyone. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. I am Utah State Representative Sandra Hollins, and I represent District 23. I would like to thank Salt Lake City and Salt Lake City School District for leading the way in protecting what is in the best interest of our youth and our community. This is an important step to avoid criminalizing students and to help all of our students succeed. When I first took office, one of the issues that I wanted to address was the school-to-prison pipeline. I met with community leaders such as Michael Clare, the ACLU, the local law enforcement, and the NAACP, who all shared the same concerns about our young people. Out of that meeting came HB 460, which both defined the role of SROs in our school and looked at what training school administrators and SRO needed to help facilitate a better outcome for our young people. We know that young people who experience disciplinary problems in schools that result in suspensions or negative interaction with the police are at risk for dropout or to be incarcerated as an adult. This is a step in the right direction and preventing students from heading in that direction, and improving the school climate by building better relationship and better communication among all parties. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. I would like to thank the mayor and her office, Chief Brown, and the Salt Lake City Police Department for their hard work in working with us to make sure that we had an agreement that is supportive of students, teachers, communities, and Salt Lake City as a whole. We are very fortunate to work with this great group of individuals. We have already begun some of the training as outlined in the new agreement, and that has gone very well for both our employees and the police department. We are so thankful that everyone is here and that we work with people who really care about the safety of our students. So I'd like to thank you for being here, and I'd like to thank the mayor and her office and Chief Brown and the Salt Lake City Police Department for their continued support in keeping our schools and our students safe. Thank you.
I'm Sergeant Phil Esslinger, and my area of responsibility is the school resource officers and the Promising Youth program. And I want to thank all involved in this to be able to help us to better serve our students, the faculty, and the community that we have the area of responsibility for. At Salt Lake City Police Department, we are very dedicated in improving those relationships between the students and us and the faculty, administration, and the community. To that end, so when I started this assignment a few years ago, our contact seemed to be to make an arrest or to deal with an issue at the school. And having worked with the schools, then we've been able to show up with positive contact, be able to, now when we show up to the school, the students aren't asking us who's in trouble, who's getting arrested. They're now wanting to know if we're there for recess, if we're there for lunch, we're going to have that positive contact with them. So I have 11 individuals very dedicated to this assignment. I have 10 sworn officers as SROs, and then I have one civilian employee that make those positive contacts in the community. And so I am very thankful for the work that our community and all those involved that allows us to have these interactions with our students. Thank you.
How has the relationship between students and officers improved specifically? And what are you hearing from the students?
What we're hearing from the students and what we're seeing from the students is a day-to-day interaction with our SROs on campus. They'll go up and say good morning to the SROs. They'll talk to them in the lunchroom during the day. We have our SROs assigned to some duties at night, such as basketball games and football games, and we see that our students are interacting on a positive way with the SROs. We see that in both our high schools and our middle schools. At our elementary schools, the SROs and the Salt Lake City Police Department have made an effort to be visible on our elementary schools. So we've seen our SROs playing basketball at recess, going down and reading to students in the libraries, being visible on those campuses during lunch. And it really is about building those relationships between our students and our SROs that enable our students, if they're feeling threatened or if they feel something is going on, because they now have a positive relationship with the SRO, they'll go and they'll tell that SRO if they think something is happening or if they feel unsafe at school.
There will still obviously be times where discipline is necessary. From the police perspective, what changes have you all made to find that line between what's appropriate and what's not when enacting discipline?
So with House Bill 239 that gave us some more direction on that, we're able to, it would essentially be progressive discipline where, so that first interaction should never result in an arrest or a citation. And to be able to work with the administration at that school and find out what is the best solution. And typically on that first offense, that student is going to have that opportunity to have it administratively handled within the school. And as long as that's the end of it, then you're usually finished. But if that behavior continues, then you can be a referral to peer court, which is non-judicial. And then if it advances to the point where it requires an arrest, then we'll usually issue a citation in that.
Can you give us more concrete examples, what is to be handled by a school and what is to be handled by law enforcement?
I think some of the things that are going to be handled by the school are the day-to-day things that happen at a school. If a student is sloughing class and not in class, if there is maybe some, at a middle school, some pushing or shoving between students that we're able to break up, those sort of things we're able to handle as a school, and we want to handle those because through restorative practices we can work with our students and try to deter that behavior in the future. As some of the things that students maybe do on campus or outside of campus come into play, that's where the police would come. We would use our SROs.
Such as, in an
I'll
example.
let you.
Yeah, do you want to give an example?
You can give an example of that.
So it depends on the seriousness of the crime. We'll just use, an assault. If it's mutual combat that those two students engaged in, that's something that could be handled administratively. They'll have the opportunity to meet together to figure out why they were at odds and resolve that. But if it's a one-sided assault or there's a serious enough injury, then law requires us to be involved in that and to follow through. Now, and like I said, that could still be handled outside of the courts through peer court, or depending, if the injury is serious enough, then that would actually have to go to the courts to be adjudicated.
Well, if you want to do one-on-one interviews, you're welcome to do that. I do want to recognize Angela Doan, who is my education advisor, for all her hard work in bringing the parties together and making this all happen. So thank you, Angie, for all your work on this. And thank you again for being here today. This is truly meaningful. I'm very grateful to the teamwork here. This is really, truly a historic moment for us to implement legislation that was intended to help our students do better in school and help us build stronger relationships between law enforcement and students and healthy working relationships with our school districts. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And high five to the team. Thank you. Right? Way to go. Thank you.